What's going on, combatants? It is ADJB3. We are the Breakdown Boys. This week in WWE, we had the Super Showdown that came from Saudi Arabia. Well, that was a
It was
debacle.
amazing.
Raw wasn't as whack as it was last week. SmackDown kind of plateaued, and we're here to break it down for you. JB3, my brother, was good.
Hey, what's happening? Everything's all right, man. It's been a busy week. It's been a crazy week. It's been a lot of wrestling happening, but not anything that's really been good. I would say we're going to break down everything. It's going to be interesting to talk about. We're going to talk about Super Showdown, talk about some Raw, then we're going to talk about some SmackDown. And then, yeah, I mean, guys, combatants, if you guys even watched Super Showdown, you already know how it goes in Saudi Arabia. It's crazy. So we're not really going to talk. I don't think we're going to talk much about the matches itself. Maybe the main event. But really, the crazy thing was the temperature. It was like 100 degrees there, and they kept talking about it. It was just absolutely ridiculous.
At one point, it got up to 103.
And that's just like, man, like I'm thinking about, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Vince McMahon dragging all his people there. He's paying them well. So, they're getting paid good money, but man, just it's like the worst of conditions and the worst situations. It's like there's always some drama with some type of drama going on there. It's just like craziness. And then you got all these old vets that want to retire, and they keep getting put back into these matches.
Well,
like the Undertaker. Look, the Undertaker was ready to retire. He was going to go do StarCast. He was taking outside appearances. He was just going to make his money doing signings. And then Vince McMahon convinced him to go to Saudi Arabia and come back and re-sign.
I don't feel bad for him. You know why I don't feel bad for him? Because nobody put a gun to his head. You know what I mean?
But it's not.
He did it for the money. So I can't feel bad for somebody who does something for money. We'll get into that when we get to the main event.
No, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for the wrestlers. I don't feel bad for the wrestlers, brother. I just think Vince McMahon's a piece of shit for doing it. Hey, that's all.
They could have easily said no, my brother. The title matches on Super Showdown were short. They were almost, for them billing this as a WrestleMania equivalent pay-per-view, those matches were short. The Kofi one was about 13 minutes. The Seth Rollins one was about 12 minutes, and the Brock Lesnar beating was another like 4.
Yeah, because it don't really mean anything. They just want to build it up that way because,
I mean,
I don't even know, because they're making a lot of money. Try to make up for the fact that people get murdered over there, and they and like Sami Zayn can't go and Aleister Black couldn't go because of tattoos. They try to make up for that by saying it ain't a big event because
women can't wrestle.
Yeah, like, and then the women went over there and they're like, no, the women can't wrestle. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So no one, dude, I didn't even care about. I wasn't even gonna watch Super Showdown, but I was just kind of bored on Friday at 3 p.m. because it was on at a weird time. So I was just like, yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah, it wasn't the worst show.
I mean, there's nothing to write home about. I don't know. You want to rate? Well, let's get into the main event real quick. I think that needs to be addressed before we talk about old guys. Before we talk about Vince McMahon throwing money at these dudes, let's take into account that they weren't. It wasn't like he was forcing contracts on them. Oh, you have to go because you signed something. He backed the money truck up to their house, opened up the floodgates, dropped the money on their porch, and those two dudes took it. Now, age has a lot to do with it. They can't do what they used to do. I'm pretty sure that 102-degree weather kicked in. But you know what? This falls on Goldberg for giving himself a concussion, trying to soup himself up in the bottom. Right.
And something, before that missed spear and where he hit his head on the post or whatever happened and knocked himself out. The match is actually, that was from the locker. He wasn't even supposed to be doing that anymore. He's stupid. But the match actually was straight. before he got rebut, you know, when he really, because he was cut on the top of his head.
Yeah, right here, yeah.
Before that happened, the match, I thought it was straight. You know, we've seen a couple spears. If they would have kept to that formula, big moves, cut,
Quick.
make it to make it to a couple minutes, and then boom, you know, do the finish. But after Goldberg did that, they tried to have a wrestling match after that, and then the Undertaker went for the tombstone, and that scared me.
And spiked him, dude. I
Hard.
was watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, he broke his neck." It looked worse than the Owen Hart Steve Austin one.
It did, because his head cricked all back, which is
Yeah.
weird. It's weird because Austin was jacked, and Goldberg, I mean, I think he was hurt.
Goldberg got lucky.
Yeah, he got lucky. And then he tried to pick him up with the jackhammer. He almost killed the Undertaker.
Yo, he dropped him on his fucking neck.
Right, and then he's gonna try. Then they tried to do the tombstone spot, which this was stupid to me. I don't know why they wanted to do the tombstone spot. You know, the reverse one where like Bill Goldberg's gonna go for the tombstone, and then Undertaker reverses it or whatever, however it went down. They fell down, and then you know you could visibly see Undertaker call a finish, which it's okay. I understand. He was pissed, but he had to. He said, "Choke slam, let's get out of here." Choke slam, total botch. He couldn't even jump because he was just totally flabbergasted. And then they went out, and you could see the Undertaker was pissed off. Goldberg collapsed. He's hurt. And then, man,
I don't know, man. It's simple. It's simple. They did themselves a disservice by taking the money and going out there. They did the fans a disservice by putting on that shitty show. And the whole event was just strange. You got some no-namer from NXT who wins the 50-man battle royal just because he's from there.
I actually like him. I mean, I care less that he won that battle royal, but when I seen him on NXT, when he was on NXT, you know, I actually I like him on NXT. He's cool. When I seen him, I was like, yeah, go man, go guy.
Go guy.
He's good.
All right, man. Superstar show. I keep calling it Superstar. Super Showdown. Whatever the fuck. I'm glad it's over. What do you rate?
2.2. It was just a show. I'll tell you what though, if they want to sit there and call it WrestleMania, they're out of their minds. But if you want to sit there and give me a regular old pay-per-view show on a Friday afternoon at 3 p.m., I'm not hating. For the circumstances of it being in Saudi Arabia, for moral reasons, there's plenty of moral reasons I can see someone not watching it. Yeah, so honestly, being that it was at 3 p.m. on a Friday, it's like I'm cool.
You're gonna have to repeat all that for that, brother.
I think we had some. I think I had a connection with you. Am I good?
Yeah, you good. Yeah, but I gave it a 2.2. Being the fact I had nothing to do that Friday and it was entertaining for that part.
I'm not that happy. Same thing. Are you there, buddy? I think we lost the service. We lost the show. We're back. All right. We're back in the house. Here we are. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. I give it a 2.3. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right. Raw.
Raw was hot garbage.
Raw was just. They were trying to get highlights. They're trying to get highlights from this Saudi show, which was garbage. They're not mentioning anything of any value. The only thing good that came of it was we finally got the tag team titles defended after the champions hadn't been on TV in over 6 weeks. And
It's so pointless
I
to
guess
give them titles.
the revival is finally getting that push that they've been looking for because they got the
Maybe.
titles. You know, they're making up for the back shaving and the jock itch.
Yeah, that backfired too. I think they got like a sponsor out of it or something. They're making money. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, Raw. I mean, yeah, that match I seen parts of it. It was pretty good. I liked it. The Bailey stuff is okay. Totally digging the Bailey stuff. Digging like Bailey is showing a new side of her that I like. It's like it's like her character is finally starting to go in the right direction. I don't know why, and I hope it continues to go forward. And
I mean, every time I see Bailey get these these spots and this championship push that she's getting now, I think I said it on a previous show. I think that's them saying thank you to her for being loyal. Excuse me, and it's a subliminal fuck you to Sasha Banks.
yeah. And I don't even know what's gonna happen with Sasha, but she's got to hurry up and do something. I won't. I don't really. I just
Honestly,
want. I just want to see her.
I feel like she's starting to become irrelevant. Like, all right, it
Yeah.
was
Well,
cool.
yeah. Eventually.
You took some time off. You weren't happy with the outcome of Mania. You wanted to let it be known that you're tired of being on the wayside and not having anything substantial in your career going on. So you take some time off instead of quitting. Okay, everybody needs a little reset button. That was over 2 months ago. Like, I don't give a shit now. You know what I mean? All right, you took your time off. Come back and do something. Do what Mox did. Shut the fuck up. Wrestle out your contract. Wrestle it out clean, right?
Uh, yeah,
And go.
she signed a 5-year contract last year, bro.
So then guess what?
4 years
Unless
ago. Hey,
she signed it. She signed it.
yeah, and now she doesn't. She probably doesn't. She doesn't want to be a part of it. So she could either sit home and not do anything, or she
Right.
could be in the
Are
crack.
you gonna give a Are you gonna give a flying shit about Sasha Banks or Mercedes or whatever she's gonna call herself when she comes back? Are you gonna give a flying fucking 5 years?
In
And go.
5 years, that
Yeah.
depends where AEW goes. I mean, if AEW is huge, you never know what can happen. It might not take 5 years. You don't know what happened. I don't know what's
All
going
right.
to happen. It's crazy, but I don't know. When it comes to that, I don't care. I mean, I'd be happy to see her anywhere, but I'm just happy that the women's division is getting some good attention. And I'm going to be honest about something. Switching gears to the divisions, bro. Like Seth Rollins, Universal title, Baron Corbin is just sucking all the entertainment out of that because like I said, I like Baron and everything, but like I am just so not entertained with what's going on with the Universal title picture, what's going on with everything there. Like it's almost like I didn't like it that Brock had it, and I'm uninterested. I love
Now
Seth.
that Seth has it. You know what it is? I think that they were trying to build to the Saudi show, right? Using Brock as that catalyst to do something at the Saudi show with the Universal title. I I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt in the next week or two to see where they go with this, right? I don't think we see Brock Lesnar to SummerSlam. I don't think we see him at Stomping Ground. I honestly I don't think we see him till SummerSlam. Um, I think they're just gonna let this shit play itself out. All the story. Let's keep it real. All of creative in WWE is a mess. I think the writers have given up because their shit gets changed. We talked about this to nauseum.
Yeah.
It is what it is at this point. The only thing we can hope is after Stomping Ground, they do a hard reset and they start making fresh storylines. Like let Stomping Ground shut it, be a bookmark, an ending to whatever you're doing now, and start up fresh on Monday Night Raw with new rivalries, new programs, get some angles going, you know, and maybe, you know, this wishful thinking. Maybe get some long program going. You know what I mean? See what
There's
happens.
a
I
few
don't
other
know.
things too, though. They got to give the wrestlers more creative freedom in the matches, more
Mhm.
time, more creative freedom there too. They need to stop scripting. Let them be like John Moxley said. He said he was like, I can put the asses in the seats. That's my job. I know how to do that. Let me do what I do. He was like, I'm not an actor. If you want someone to read a script, hire an actor. They'll do a better job than me. He was like, but if you want me to put the asses in the seats, give me a microphone and I'll put the asses in the seats. That's my job. That's what I do. And I respect that. And that's what I think the WWE, back in the day, it's how it was. Yeah, Stone Cold. The Rock had stuff written for him, but he never had a script. Like they will go out there and get a microphone and cut it raw, like straight up. And
Yeah,
that's where the
but
magic is.
I honestly think even with, and I totally agree with you. I co-sign that all day. Playing devil's advocate, I think if they just took the time, even if they do script everything, right? Instead of just writing shit without the wrestler in the room, like, all right, hypothetically, say we're writing Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin angle, right? We sit down with Seth, we sit down with Baron, kind of like a little like we do for pre-production. We want to get what we want to say out, want to have kind of a structure to it, and let them get some feedback back and forth. Hey, this is what I came up with for you, Seth. What do you think about these? Oh yeah, I like this. I don't like this. Hey, what do you think about this? Boom, boom, boom. The script is already done, and it's co-written by the guy who's gonna say it and somebody in creative, right? And
Well, that always works if they can work together like that. I mean, that would
they
always work. I mean,
should
that's
work
what
together
the
like
Rock
that.
did. But Vince McMahon has no trust. And someone said this. I don't remember who it is, but Vince McMahon no longer has that big star. He thinks that he believes now, and everyone
The
there, they believe that
WWE
the
is the
WWE is
star.
bigger. WWE is bigger, and they don't need the big star. But what they don't realize is the WWE has never got off on its own. There's
Mm-mm.
always had someone carrying the WWE. It was Hogan. And then after Hogan, it was the dark new generation years with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Yokozuna was in there too.
After Hogan, it was Warrior. Yeah, the
Well,
Warrior
no, but
played.
yeah, but Warrior didn't last, and Hogan got it right back. I'm
uh,
talking Hogan was the guy
Yeah,
until Bret Hart and Yokozuna back in WrestleMania 9. But then it was the Rock and Stone Cold took over, and then it was John Cena after that. And John Cena was the big guy for so long. Now after him, it was supposed to be Roman Reigns, but that didn't work out. Now
yeah,
you just got a bunch of roster full of talent. But we are getting way off hand right now. If we
yeah.
got to rate Raw, because I didn't like Raw, I'm gonna give Raw, I don't know, 1.8. I wasn't a fan of any wrestling this week, really. I don't know. After the Showdown, it's like it's been the same since WrestleMania. Everything, nothing's changed.
Yeah. Um, After for Raw, I'm gonna give it a 2. I think I there was a couple of things there that entertained me. I'm not gonna totally shit on it. Was it fun? Was it it's kind of boring. Luckily I DVR'd it. I didn't watch it live. I'm not doing it to myself anymore. So yeah, that's Raw. SmackDown. SmackDown. Before we get into SmackDown, I gotta give a little bit of props to R-Truth.
He's doing a thing. I it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
if that thing was created just for our truth,
then it's a success.
it's a success. I can see him
Uh,
being like a 47 time 24/7
24/7
champion.
champion.
Like he's
You
gonna
know
hold
what's
that.
the gimmick still bothers me. The undercard of insignificance chasing him around bothers me. You know when it starts to pull me in a little bit when they do the stupid shit like him pinning Jinder Mahal on the plane,
Oh yeah, that's where it's at, bro. That's where
right?
it's always gonna
Or
be at.
or just when R-Truth is speaking. right? When he's talking about that he's the 7-Eleven champion.
Yeah, when he said the 7-Eleven champion, I
I
almost
almost
lost
peed
it,
on
bro.
myself. When he said my life has been troubled, and he said a bunch of shit. And when he got locked in the box and he said, I got hypothermia. Don't leave me in here. I only got 2 breaths left. And right as they pulling him away on the forklift, I'm the European champion. Can't leave me in this box. Like
Yeah, it's
that's
ridiculous.
the only thing about it that I find entertaining. Do I still think the belt is fucking ugly? Yes. Do I think that I would be sitting here shitting on it still very passionately if it wasn't that R-Truth made me laugh? Yes. Right? If they keep that belt being defended on little skits on social media and on YouTube, and then showing the highlights of those skits on Raw and SmackDown, and just letting him talk about his experiences and promos, and then hearing somebody and taking off, but we don't have to see all of them chase him. He could just hear somebody coming and dip off, and we could see like 2 wrestlers walk by. I'm
Right.
cool with that.
Yeah, and they can make it crazy because they can do this for a while. What you're saying, have him, and then they could actually make a story out of it. They can have someone more cunning take the belt from him, and then they can have him chasing the belt for a while, and then he
Yeah.
can keep trying to get it and keep almost getting it, but then not getting it, and then go through a while
Or
and then actually build up to something that's got comedy in it, funny. Like
yeah,
they can do stuff with it, but they got to keep it on social media. They could do stuff.
and
I,
another thing that they could do too. I was thinking about this. Him and Carmella, for better or worse, we all know how I feel about Carmella. They're stuck at the hip, right? They're freaking frack. Those two, where one goes, the other one goes, right?
they got good chemistry
You
together.
could get it that Carmella, right? Somebody hits Truth, right, from behind while she's there. They pin Truth. Truth is knocked out, and she doesn't want the person to run away with the belt, so she sneaks the person and pins the person. And now you have an angle where Truth wants his belt back, but he doesn't want to hurt his friend for it. So
And
now
that,
they like so
bro, and if they did
her
that,
sleeping somewhere and pins her like this with his finger, real quietly, 1, 2, 3, and then takes the belt while she's sleeping. And then
that's
she
perfect.
wakes up.
Dude, that's perfect, bro. Because you remember when they first got hooked up. Remember what his first line was? It says, "I'm gonna." He said, "I'm gonna get a championship match by pinning Carmella." So now, after that happens, he's like, "I know what I gotta do. I gotta pin Carmella." And now he really would have to pin Carmella, bro. That will work out perfectly.
You know what I mean? So,
But yeah,
yeah.
SmackDown.
So shout out to R-Truth. Do I still think that shit is? I don't know. I sound like an idiot when I say it's garbage, but it's giving me comedy gold with R-Truth. So I'm gonna give it a pass. I ain't gonna shit on it this week. Uh, the New Day is back at full strength. Big E came back.
Yeah,
He
it
looked
was
pretty
nice.
good. He didn't do much. I think he's still taking it a little light on the knee, which is cool. Don't rush it. But yo, what he did do, he looked good in it. You know what I mean? I'm glad to see them come back and you know they brought a smile on my face. You know the KO Dolph Ziggler and Sami Zayn match. You know it was a it was entertaining. It was cool. It was just cool to see the New Day back at full strength. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah,
served
that
its
was cool
purpose.
stuff, man. I mean, the match itself was like, it's all like heels they're feuding with. It's cool.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about it.
Um, one of the better matches of the night, I believed, and you touched on it earlier, was Bayley Nikki Cross. That
Oh
was a
yeah,
good match.
I really like that match too. And like, so Bailey's feuding with Alexa Bliss, and this is what their last feud should have been. And I keep saying that this is what Bailey should have been when she first came up. But yeah, we'll just skip the last parts that she just been through. But yeah, when she pinned, so she first off, she don't have the Bailey the belly anymore. She's done with that finisher, which is great. She's doing an elbow drop, which it is what it is. Whatever, it's cool. Hopefully, maybe she'll come up with another finish, but that for now, that's fine. But I like when she pinned Nikki Cross, she looked Alexa Bliss right in the eyeballs. That is a nice touch. That's the kind of things that whoever makes those choices, whoever came up with that idea, they need to start coming up with more ideas because that's the tiny stuff that's what gets over
That's what
matches.
sells an angle.
Yeah, that's not a backstage segment. It's an
No.
in-ring. extra little seed being planted by Bailey just by doing one thing, a facial expression. That's all it took. Just that speaks volumes, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that elbow drop. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, it always looks awkward to me. You know what I mean? And when you got somebody, speaking of somebody who fell off the face of the earth, Kyrie Sane and Oscar, we'll touch on them briefly, but when you got somebody like Kyrie Sane dropping an inverted elbow on the same show, right?
Right.
Your elbow looks whack. You know what I mean? The belly to belly, or whatever you want to call it, that's more of a setup move than a finisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure she can figure something out. She might stick with that elbow. I don't know, but Becky Lynch got a new finisher, the Becky Slam or whatever she's calling it.
Yeah, it's called the Manhandler. I think
the Manhandler. Yeah, something like that.
Like
so they're trying to reinvent themselves. It's cool. Real quick, what the happened to the goddamn Kabuki Warriors and the Viking Experience?
Same thing, man. They disappear because they don't know. They got too much going on. They got just way too much going on. Just like when we watch SmackDown, half the roster's not on there, and we're like, oh, well, where are they? And like,
yeah, they can pretty much air an episode of SmackDown, and it seems like they're airing every episode of SmackDown with the same 15 people.
Yeah, they're using 10% of the roster. Yeah, and that's why everyone wants to leave, because they're like, I mean, some people are like, cool, I'll just get paid to none. But like, where you gonna have 8 weeks of Aleister Black promos? Sure, if he would have been called up and then started that, fine. But they had him up on the roster, wrestling every single day with Ricochet, doing matches, working. Everybody got used to seeing him. Everyone wants to see him, and then you don't have nobody watching wrestling.
I think him and what's his face need to go at it. Bray Wyatt. See that being a good angle.
Right. I think it's gonna be Randy. I don't know.
I think he's gonna who? Aleister Black's.
Sleepy to think about all this WWE storytelling that they got going on.
Putting you to sleep.
They're not really good.
We sit over here brainstorming, coming up with better shit than they do.
Right. Which, speaking of which, I have an idea.
You came at me with a theory.
Yeah, and I left you in suspense too.
Yeah.
So Combatants, I told him earlier that I have a theory, and I didn't tell him what it was. I wanted to wait until the show to let him what it is. It's not a theory; it's more of a wish list. So if this was going to be a segment, it would be called My Wish List, and this ain't just mine because it's also AD's, and it's so he has this thing. We kind of disagree, but we kind of agree. He says that he wants the women's division to have all these different titles, and they need more than any more. I think that is true. I agree.
At least one more.
I don't think there should be more titles in general. So here's what I think should happen. I think that they should unify some titles, tag team titles. The whole tag team division should be across all three brands for the women's and the men's. Unify the tag belts, have the women's tag belts, then unify the Intercontinental title and the United States title and make it the Intercontinental title. Then you have the Intercontinental title. And then rename, this would be smart, rename the Raw Women's Championship to the WWE Women's Universal Championship. Because if they're going to have a wild card and they're going to have different people on different shows, they don't want to have the Raw Championship and the SmackDown. Have it the WWE Women's Universal Championship, the WWE Women's World Championship, then the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yes, that'd be a new title. Yeah. And then the WWE Women's Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah, another new one. And then the women's tag titles. Then you'd have 5 on the women's, 5 on the men's. We have 10 now. We would have 10 still, but more women's titles, and they would mirror each other. Then, superstars that come up like Candice LeRae, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, a lot of those little small ones, like really high flying chicks, they could really go for like and then you got the workhorse chicks like Bailey, Sasha Banks, those type chicks who could
There
go
could
for
be
the Intercontinental
intercontinental.
title.
It makes
And they would
sense.
have the more titles. And then the final piece would be at the end, unifying the Universal and the WWE Championships to find the WWE Undisputed Champion, and then unifying the women's side to have the final WWE Undisputed Women's Champion. Then you would have 8 titles. Then you would have 4 on each side, more women's belts, and then you wouldn't have anything branded to each side. That's my wish list. That's what I wish they would do. And I think that you could focus more on each title because it gets annoying. Like you forget about like the Intercontinental title and then the United States title, and then like the U.S. title has been defended for the past few pay-per-views in 1 minute, 30-minute squashes. 30-second squashes, and it's just getting annoying. I don't care. I love Samoa Joe, and I'm glad he's the only thing that's actually even possibly saving it. And like Demon Finn or Finn having the IC belt, it's okay. But imagine them being in a unification match with those 2 titles together. That'd be a big moment. SummerSlam, it could happen.
Fuck SummerSlam. Survivor Series. That's
Survivor.
perfect. That's perfect for Survivor Series. You win, you survive as the champion. You get both belts. You get the picture with both belts, and then that next Monday on Raw, they present you with the new unified Intercontinental belt. Design something, even if you just change the color, you take the strap and go from white to like, I don't know, dark blue or black or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, whichever way it works out. But yeah, I definitely think that they could do something like that. But I really, if they're going to put more women's titles in, they have to take away some of the other ones because it's ridiculous. And I think everything would be more similar. It would be more,
Symmetrical.
more symmetrical, right? You would have the tag team division all over the place, and then you would have the cruiserweights, and then you would have, which could be on 205 Live. You'd have the women's cruiserweights and have the women go on 205 Live, so you could keep that matched up because they're going to promote that show regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then with the Intercontinental and the Women's Intercontinental, the workhorses, they could be in those would be the quality matches on both sides. And then the big titles for both sides, and that could be the star power. That could be your Roman Reignses and your Charlottes.
Lynch's
and and it could just.
And what's even cool too, when you have storylines that are already taken up, like, all right, Becky and Lacey, that already ties up one belt, right? And then Bayley and Alexa Bliss, that ties up another belt. If you had an Intercontinental belt and you wanted to bring some prestige to it, you got Charlotte sitting right there.
Right. I mean, exactly. You
know
have
what I
these,
mean?
right. And
the first couple of times you bring some of your big guns to that belt and bring it to some prestige. And then after they had it a while, that you're going to write them into another storyline, you take one of your up-and-comers and have them put them over. And then they move on to something else. And now you have a future star in your hands. That's your workhorse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
totally. Yeah, I totally agree. Because like Asuka's whole reign was trash. If Asuka had if they had that Intercontinental title while she was there, she could have won that first and stayed undefeated. And she could have been just running through mid-card talent with this Intercontinental title, and she could have been putting all the prestige to that. Like they can do those kinds of things. And then, like, think about this. WrestleMania 3, okay? Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental title. That match was so good. That match made the Intercontinental title the workhorse Intercontinental title. Yeah. That was, the Macho Man's reign. And then everyone after that, when it even through the 90s, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, you know what I'm saying? Razor Ramon didn't even go to the world title, and he kept winning the IC belt. And then like it just continued on, and it had some blemishes, but I think they brought it back. Over time, it's still there. They can do a lot.
Right when it was starting to lose its little luster, RVD got his hands on it and turned it into something for a hot minute too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of people did. Look what the Miz has done for it recently. Honestly, I think the Miz is one of the reasons it's back up there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because you think about people used to freak out over the IC title. They wanted the Intercontinental title. That was their everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, Seth Rollins too. You got to give him credit. What look he did for Dolph Ziggler. Like, that's just recently. You know, Chris Jericho 9 times. You know what I'm saying?
Miz is 9 times.
Yeah, Chris WWE 9 times. 10 if you count the Japan trip. But yeah, I mean, like Edge done a lot for that title. Randy Orton did a lot for that title. A lot of people back in the day put so much into that title that title started doing stuff for other wrestlers.
Yeah, that title was telling the world, when you saw somebody win that IC belt back in the day, that was them telling the world, this is your next guy.
Yeah, this is the next guy. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy who in 2 years from now, who's going to bring this energy into the main event picture. And those were the times, man, because I remember back in the day when Shawn Michaels just became a good guy and he came back from his injury. I was like, man, like he won the IC title. And I was excited. I was like, man, I can't wait to see him main event. And then when he did the Iron Man match and he got the W, I'm like, I freaked out, bro. I was like, finally. And then we got to see, and it wasn't even good ratings for them, but I loved it because he was my favorite. And I got to watch him defend it in these classic matches. The one against Mind Games against Mankind. You know what I'm saying? All the matches that he's had for the World Championship. Some of them were lackluster. And then he had to do his stuff with Sid, which, you know, whatever. You know, and then he lost his smile. There's a lot of drama with that, but like the IC title always built those wrestlers and prepared them for those moments.
Yeah, man. So the women's title definitely needs to be created because that mid card needs something to work for, man, and something to strive for. Yo, we rated everything. We broke everything down. JB3, where can they find you?
Where can they find me? You can find me for now on the Combat Wrestling Network, and as you know, soon we have other journeys to take, other paths to take. Why you guys know what's happening. Breakdown Boys, we're coming at you. As far as right now, though, you can find me here in the Combat Wrestling Network. Every Thursday night, we're going to break down the week of WWE. We're going to talk about the best parts of Raw, SmackDown, sometimes a pay-per-view, even if it's from Saudi Arabia.
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But, you know, that's where I'm at. And like I said before, I'm always willing to jump back in the Combat Wrestling trivia ring, but I only want 3 people. One of them is going to be having a match soon. I just seen his promo. It's Nico. Nico, hey, Nico. Hi, Nico. Hey, you want to have a wrestling trivia match against me? I heard your list of names that you listed. Yeah, you didn't list my name. And if you wrestled me in the trivia wrestling ring, and then you made that list again later, you still wouldn't list my name. So, yeah. And then, you know, Andrew Hayes, yeah, you know, champ, you know, whatever. Non-title, I want some. And then, you know, obviously my challenge to the commish, Hunter, I will wrestle you in the trivia ring anytime as well. Yeah, it goes down. So, yeah, trivia, combat, wrestling, network, I'm here.
All right.
And I'm ready.
Yeah, man, you can find me here for now. At Adonis Nazario on Facebook. I'm AD. That's JB3. And we are, and always will be, the Breakdown Boys.
Boys.